All right, welcome back to the Kissel and Timpf show. I'm looking at the live stream here. My hair is sticking up. I look like that chick from Something About Mary, but I don't think Ben, whatever the heck his name is,
Stiller?
Yeah, has done anything like that to me lately. All right, so we talked a little Pokemon, we got a little Bernie, we got a little Trump talk.
Yeah.
RNC, DNC. We got any questions
We
here?
don't have very many questions. We have a lot of people saying that I'm a babe and
that's
Pokemon Go.
That's nice.
We have people, a lot of people who miss the Muslim ban.
They want it to come back, huh?
They want it to come back. Anybody, if you have any actual questions, feel free to leave those in the is that a Jose Bank, Kissel?
It is a Jose Bank,
yeah.
Absolutely. Always is Jose Bank. This is the only outfitter that I would ever go to because they're also the only ones that have my size. Going back to the Muslim ban, very interestingly enough, Angela Merkel, of course, the Chancellor of Germany, just came out and she did admit that of the 800,000 immigrants they allowed into Germany, she did admit that ISIS has been using some of them to infiltrate their country. And you do wonder if all of these world events that have happened in the, not world events, all these European events that have happened are really beneficial to Donald Trump and his campaign, going from Brexit and then having Angela Merkel, who the Germans are a very interesting country. Obviously, in the 40s, they wanted to take over the world with military might. They weren't able to do that. The Germans were one of the first 5 countries to form the EU, so they did end up, ironically enough, finding a way to conquer that region. You have what happened with the immigrants in Germany. You do wonder if Donald Trump is in safer water than he thought he might be when it comes to his Muslim ban proposal, specifically after events like Orlando.
Absolutely. I and it doesn't even matter, of course, when people, obviously that wouldn't have stopped it.
No.
He was, from here. But it certainly makes people more open to that kind of rhetoric when they see these things happening, and when they see when it, was ISIS is saying we are using them for this, and then Angela Merkel saying they're using it for this.
Right.
Banning all Muslims, but fear is very powerful. These are emotional issues. You can talk about the economy with you can put some charts up. But it's not. That's why the Democrats are so successful when they talk about the economy. Because they'll say, this starving mother, and she's trying to feed her kids, and that's more of an emotional appeal. With terror, there's this emotional appeal of fear, where if we don't do this, they're gonna get ya.
Right.
And that makes it, more effective to talk about it that way.
And it really is a perfect storm, because you have the right, more conservative-minded people saying that if you let them into our country, every single one of them is going to be a terrorist. And you have the left saying that if you let them into their country, every single one of them is in need of love, home, and food. When in reality, some are of both. And we have to have a common sense policy. If you look at Trump's Muslim ban, one of the great ironies is our country already has a Muslim ban to some degree. We limit massive amounts of immigrants from certain nations all over the Middle East. If you're Iranian, good luck getting in. It's much, much more difficult for you to get a work visa or to come into the country than if you're in Scotland. These are not made up rules. There are reasons behind this. But with Trump, he didn't have the political nuance of saying it was a country that wasn't going to be allowed to come in. He pinpointed a religion of 1 billion people, which at the end of the day, like I just said, is already technically happening.
Well, I think that a lot, rather than just, talk about specifically the Muslim ban or anything else, people like that he talks about these issues passionately.
Right.
President Obama talks about gun control passionately, but that's pretty much it. Yeah. When he talks about terrorist attacks, he talks like he's, very, very, there's no emotion involved.
Right.
And I think that these are very emotional issues, as I mentioned, and people can relate to that, even regardless of what he's saying, which I think people care a little less about. Then they'll just say, oh, you know what? This looks like a guy who cares. This looks like a guy who's going to stand up for America.
Right.
He's going to make it great again.
Yes.
That's the most important thing. And Obama, hey, it's more about the feeling. He does, translate, or it does, I don't know what word I'm looking for. to the audience.
No, it does. It definitely translates to the audience. And again, the audience emotion reaches Donald Trump. So these things are coming together in a perfect storm. And Make America Great Again, this idea of a slogan, it started with Reagan. When Reagan ran in 79, his slogan was literally, let's make America great again. Donald Trump just took out the let's. That's it. So he's able to pull from certain politicians that resonated with the American constituents, with the civilians. He pulls on the emotional rhetoric of politicians that had been successful. And you see him doing it with Bernie as well. Donald Trump was regurgitating the exact same ideas of the system being rigged, the 99% being screwed by the 1%, talking about how the powers that be have a total disconnect with their constituents in their local communities. He stole so much of Bernie's rhetoric. He's taken from Reagan. He's even taken, a little bit from Obama in the sense of, like we discussed earlier, being a celebrity icon.
Absolutely. And the guy does know how to brand himself. He does know think about his campaign and just how little he's done in terms of fundraising,
Very little.
I mean, even now, that's what I'm saying. Like, obviously, self-funded. Even now, and he's still doing so well. We saw Hillary Clinton's just within a couple of points of him, and she's got a staffer she's got a team of 5 staffers for everything.
The Clinton campaign do a thing where they don't fire anybody. They just bring more people on. It's very reminiscent of what what liberal ideals are when it comes to government. Just keep on getting more and more. That didn't work. Let's add more and more institutional garbage and more red tape to theoretically solve a problem when in reality we're making it worse. But they know it's making it worse, so then they can run on a platform to solve it again.
Absolutely.
It's a vicious cycle. Trump has a very small campaign with very little money, and he is proving, everyone was so upset with Citizens United, and I could understand why, rightfully so. I mean, unfiltered amounts of money being thrown into politics doesn't sound good on its face. But with social media, Citizens United seems to be not nearly as powerful as people thought it would be, right?
Absolutely. There's nothing like Twitter, and his Twitter is great.
Yeah.
His Twitter is fascinating, and the way that he's able to spin things or, brand things is so great. When there was a story that came out about how his campaign was basically bankrupt, they had no money, he said, well, yeah, you know what? I don't have I don't have the money that I would have if I was taking money from foreign dictators.
Absolutely.
Great. Nice little...
It's a great line. It's a great diss on Hillary. And this Clinton Foundation scandal is just starting to bubble up right now. You thought that email scandal was something big. The Clinton Foundation scandal. It's going to be huge. So with Donald Trump, I wouldn't be surprised if he's able to come up with a Pokemon Go style app for people to go vote for him.
I wouldn't be surprised either. And with the Clinton Foundation, I think that this might resonate more because if you talk about the email scandal, then people say, okay, well, what about Trump University? That was a scam. That was this and that. But if you talk about the Clinton Foundation, what she did there, it really is more directly saying that she does not care about America and making America great again as much as someone like Trump, who's just not afraid to say, screw these guys.
Right.
Okay. The people are a little more into that than saying, okay, why'd you sell our uranium? Oh, you got a ton of money? Oh, wow. Can I trust you? Do you care?
Right. And the sad thing is we have to sit here and even entertain the idea of a President Trump and try to rationalize it in our minds simply because Hillary is such an unbelievably flawed candidate. If Bernie Sanders would have won the nomination in 1984 when they put in the superdelegate process, they set the way for this situation to happen, for their establishment to always maintain control. And if Bernie would have beat Hillary, I believe this race would already be over in favor of Mr. Sanders.
Absolutely it would. It absolutely would. He's a likable guy. I mean, I've met him, and he just he's wonderful to be around. He's and you do believe he cares.
I agree.
People want people that they think are going to take care of them, both politically and personally.
That's right. All right, this has been the Kissel and Timpf Show. We're going to be with you every single morning at 8 a.m. right here on Fox News Radio.